Wednesday, Valerie Hunt, RunRx, Ask Me Anything. So we have two great questions that I'm going to start with today, and then if you have a question, just post in the comments and I can see it, especially if I put my glasses on. Okay, so the questions we got. So the first one was about stride length, and I know this is I've got a piece of chalk and everything. I'm going to try to help you guys see stride length, and of course I have a very small space. So we're going to start first with stride length, and then the second question, actually, let me do this. Let me give myself, there you go, a little bit more space. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys what the stride length means, what is stride length, and how can I increase my stride length. So that was the question. And then the second question was really great because it comes up quite a bit. And the question was, hey, I'm trying to do what you say, I'm pulling, I feel like I'm not getting anywhere. I feel like I'm just pulling, and I used to do what's called push off, really working on using my glutes and pushing off, and I feel like, why is there a difference? Like, why should I do what you say instead? Great question, and I'm going to talk about that as well. In that same question was also related to that. If I'm pushing off, why is it also wrong for me to heel strike? Is heel striking ever okay, was the question. So all really good questions. So let's just start with, first of all, one of my favorite questions, which is, what is running? And so what was your first thought? Who knows, right? For some people, they're like, races, you know, happiness, escape from reality, you know. And then other people are thinking, you know, miles. Very few people actually think of running as like the movement of running or the action of running. So like if you say to a friend, let's go running, you probably discuss more, how many miles, what's the weather, what are you wearing, right? So let's just start really quickly with running itself. So what's really nice is if you give running a definition, it'll help you. And what I mean by that is running itself is the act of getting into an optimal pose to be able to use gravity to accelerate, right? Travel forward to accelerate, and then pull the foot to keep running. So you're always pulling to pose. So I'm in pose. The idea is I want to free fall, let my body fall forward, and then simply pull to recover that running pose. So then running is pose, fall, pull, on the ground. On the ground. So the gait cycle is what we can control, which this is all you can control. In flight, that's the best part of the run. The flight phase of running is when the travel happens. So acceleration is here, and then travel is how far you fell. How far you balanced here and held fall is how far you will travel. And your stride length is the distance from pose to pose. So from pose to pose is my stride length. I want to increase my stride length. I need to increase my angle of fall. I need to increase my ability to hold my fall a little bit higher, right? Because if I'm running and I have to recover a higher angle of fall, I'm going to move forward much faster because I didn't have to wait on the ground. So what does that mean? So let me just say, I'll show you something kind of fun. Okay, so as you run, as you increase fall, the other thing that will increase is your cadence. Your stride frequency will increase as you go faster. Look at sprinters. Elite sprinters are running like 250, 280. Their cadence is very high and they're running very fast. Elite marathoners are running anywhere from 180, 185. Kipchoge is about 184, 185. He's pretty fast. So the cadence is going up in response to their bodies falling, okay? So stride length is a byproduct in running, which means instead of you creating it, you can only do what you do, right? So let's say I want to run just 10-minute mile, no big, just having a good day. So here I'm going to start in my pose. I'm going to fall enough for a 10-minute mile. So if I was out running, it would be about right here, and then I would change support. Oh, sorry. Let me have a start line. Let's see. so you can see. All right, I'll start here. There's my start line, okay? So I'm gonna start right here. I'm gonna run my 10-minute mile. So I'm gonna fall, pull, okay? So there is my stride length for my 10-minute mile. If I kept running, then that would be the length of my stride for 10-minute mile. Let's say I wanted to run an 8-minute mile. Feeling happy. So I'm gonna have to get into a higher fall hold, if you will. Still the same pose, but fall a little bit more. And then what also is happening? My pull height goes up too, right? So watch, now I just went, you see now, still started in the same place. There's a 10-minute mile. Here's my 8-minute mile, okay? Now, I can only go so fast, but let's sprint. So for Valerie, a sprint is like maybe a 6-minute mile, right? So I'm gonna fall, oh. So now, do you see? My stride length really increased. There's my 10-minute mile, there's my 8-minute mile, there's my 6-minute mile. So what changed is what? What changed is how far I have to hold my body and fall and how quick I pull my foot. So if I'm running a 10-minute mile, then my cadence and my pull will be something like this. Up, 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 very relaxed, right? If I'm running an 8-minute pace, it's gonna look more like this, height-wise, a little higher pull, a little quicker cadence, right? If I'm running, you know, somewhere between my race pace or whatnot, then it's gonna have to be a quicker pull because of the higher fall angle. You're never going to feel your legs separate, and that's a challenge because they are separating, but you can only feel what happens on the ground. So your stride length will increase, I promise, simply by holding a higher fall angle and letting the foot pull to keep up. So if I try to create stride, say by like, oh, I'm gonna really reach. So look at that stride that I'm here on the ground, still have to get here. Every frame you spend on the ground where you're not in pose and falling is just simply unnecessary body weight on your joints. Keep that in mind. So remember, on the ground, I want to be in the pose. So if I'm always pulling to recover pose, in my mind, in your perception, you will always feel like this. You can only feel the foot when it's under you. That's when you sense body weight, when the foot touches down, and then your response is simply to go pull. And the more you get comfortable with my job is pulling, falling I allow, right? It's not a muscular action. So then it kind of goes into, let me just say this, if my stride length is increasing by allowing myself to fall and simply pulling my foot, what controls the height of my pull? You guys know? It's a combination of my fall angle, but it's your hamstring that finishes the pull, but not you. So what does that mean? That means in place, when you pull to pose, ankle up under hip, this is called an active muscle contraction. We are doing all of the work. We are working against gravity, right? I'm pulling up, like up against gravity. Gravity's doing what? Pulling my foot down. I pull it up. So it's a constant communication with gravity. I'm like, I'll pull this one up, you drop this one. See? So my job is up. Gravity does the down, I do the up. Here's the fun part, and this is something you have to know. So the person asked me, I'm running using the push-off method, which activates the glutes. So it's called like push with the tush. So that's a cute name. So think about it though. If I push, first of all, you can't push with your tush. Look how high your hip is. What is connected to the ground is your foot, right? So if we were going to do glute lifts, like we would stand here and go nowhere. This is what my glute's doing, right? What direction does glute activation take my leg? Back. Guys, where do do you want to go? That way. So hamstring is important here because not only does the hamstring finish the pull, it actually takes my foot. So all you ever have to do is break contact with the ground. The hamstring itself does this. It brings the ankle up under the hip. Isn't that great? It does it by itself. It doesn't need you to teach it how to do that. It already knows. It's amazing. Seriously. You've got a blueprint for running already in you. You just got to let it happen, right? But you have to just know it. So you have to think, what do my glutes do while I'm running? Your glutes are holding your hips so you can hold your upper body. 68% of your body weight is from your hip to your head. And it's like a triangle, reverse triangle. We're balancing on our foot and our head weighs the most, right? So be very careful that you need to let the glutes do their job. And they are working hard, I promise you. They're working the whole time. How else are you holding upright? So if you're like, well, I also want you to do this, how can they hold you upright? You see, all of a sudden now you've got all kinds of weird things going on. So your glutes are very important, but let them do their job. You have to learn how your hamstring works, okay? And that's important, so you practice that. But then you also have to know, just because it's knows, like it's a concept, that when you pull, the quicker you change support, which means the second you sense your body weight, if you just do nothing but up, your foot will pull. It's amazing. Like the height of the pull simply happens if you get out of the way. If you would just fall forward and pull the foot, that height will happen and it will be as high as it needs to be. Isn't that cool? So, but some of that you just have to be like, all right, or look at physiology. But that's why we do all the pull drills, just so you understand. You have to, of course, get stronger in not just it's not the strengthening of the muscle, it's the strengthening of the pattern, of the movement pattern. So that this pulling action is something I know how to do, right? So I practice pulling, and I do a lot of drills. You guys know that. If you go into the YouTube 30-day reboot, I have a lot of drills. But what you guys got to get more comfortable with is I give one foot when you're running. That's the foot that touches down. That's the foot you pull. And, and the more I get comfortable with understanding this is my run, then when you're running, you'll run like this is in front of you. And it wouldn't make any sense to do any kind of striking. You see, it doesn't matter if it's heel strike or forefoot strike, or I hear people say midfoot strike. If you have any thought of striking, then you are running by looking for the ground. So you're going, look, so you're going to kick the box. See what I mean? If I simply pull my foot, then what does the lifted foot do? It drops. And it drops. Gravity is amazing too. So your hamstring finishes the pull, gravity drops the foot, you simply pull. And it's amazing. I think the simplicity of it is challenging. So if you're running, like the first question I got this morning, and you feel like, gosh, Valerie, I'm pulling all day, and I am going nowhere, then you have to know it's fall. Because pulling is the action, absolutely 100%. But you guys see me, here I'm in my garage, not going anywhere, right? I can increase my cadence, I can pull higher. I'm never going to travel. Why? Because until I accelerate, there's nowhere to go. So it's a waste of energy to simply try to pull higher or try to pull more often if you're not actually letting yourself fall forward. So just do yourself a favor and include some fall drills in your practice. Again, you can go through the reboot on the YouTube. There's a bunch of drills, but I'll show you something real quick. It's a fun way to practice. You don't need anything, but if you have a wall in front of you or a curb, this is just to give you a border, but you don't need to have anything in front of you. So if you just stand here and rock back and forth, this is what I want to finish with. Pretend you have a skewer running through the top of your head, so your whole body is connected as one unit. See, when you rock back and forth, you should feel a shift in your body weight. So when I rock forward, I'm on my toes. When I rock back, I'm on my heels, right? Feel where you are. And then what I want you to do is rock forward until you're only on the balls of your feet, okay? But you can wiggle your toes. You should still be able to wiggle your toes, okay? This is the ball of your foot. So do like 4 or 5 hops. Just hop. See, no jumping, hopping. Knees stay bent, hop. Okay, your foot, that's it. That's where your foot wants to be, is right there. So now everybody, just have a little bit of fun with this. But you see, I don't have a lot of space. What I want you to do for me is I want you to rock forward until you feel like you're going to tip over, and then do 3 pulls. Okay, ready? Go. 3 pulls. 1, 2, 3. See? So did you move forward? Sure. Did for just a second you feel a little bit out of control? I hope so. So then look, watch, I move myself back. You want to feel falling. So you've got to let go. Fall. Up, up, up. You see? And here I am right back in pose. And so what happens when you start to practice the drills, if you keep reminding yourself, okay, I have to fall first, it's fall. You will start to feel while you're running, the fall is all the time. Gravity's always on. You simply just, if I'm running in place, I'm like, man, I'm not going anywhere. Then at some point, you have to say to yourself, all right, I'm going to pick a fall point, attach a magnet here, and let's go. So have fun with just the thinking of that. Gravity is there for you. It's the best part of the running. It's why it works. Because once you start to let gravity let you go. Meaning 2 things. One is your acceleration. We all have the opportunity to use it. And then it becomes kind of a game, because how quick you can pull is to keep up with the fall. So remember, when you're actually pulling your foot during your run, your body weight's forward. There's no weight on your feet. So that's a real quick test. If I'm running and I feel a lot of effort, not going anywhere, fall. If I feel like, man, my feet are heavy, and I'm feeling all these muscles, no. We only use 10% active muscle contraction. Otherwise, everything is just working on its own. So just knowing that will help you. I have shin pain. So that's a great question. We'll finish with that. So if you have shin pain, a couple of things. One, do some extra self-care. Everyone has what they are prone to do more often. If you have shin pain, it's usually from tension in the foot, right? Somewhere you're either in the back pushing or in the front reaching. We have a quiz on the website, by the way, that if you have a certain pain like that, it will help you to look at maybe what's going on in your run. So try that. But shin splints, I do these all the time. Sit on your feet, open the ankles, have fun with it. But you've got to start working on the self-care aspect. But to remember, why do I think I have shin splints after a long run? I was on the ground too long. Too much impact. So instead of thinking I need to get right back out and run, why don't you go into the reboot and do some practice? Instead of just thinking I gotta go out and get more running in, get some running practice in, right? Get better at running. Spend some time with standing in the pose, doing some pulls, some hops, so that when you're running, you're like, oh, okay, this feels like running, right? Otherwise, if I keep getting a pain, and then I just stretch, and the pain feels better, and then I go run and it comes back, and I just keep stretching, it's just going to be an endless cycle of that same stretching. Nothing against stretching, but guys, think about the movement. Why would my shins hurt? My shins would hurt because I'm kicking, I'm reaching. So what's the answer? Bend your knees and pull. What if your calf is hurting? What if your hamstring is hurting? What if your quads are hurting? You're pushing. So remember, someone said, I like this push method. I don't know why, because when you push, you just took all of your body weight, pressed it into your calf, and then extended your hip. Pushing is going to just, it's a lot of impact and force and extra muscle work. I know why you like it. You like it because you can feel it. It feels so strong to push, but you're not going anywhere. It should feel light and quick. Up, 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 up. telling you guys, watch runners. Watch the ones that look really smooth and effortless. And start saying up. Watch their feet and say it. Up, up, up. Start to see that. And when you run, feel it. Get yourself unweighted. Fall forward. Feet feel light and quick. I promise you, if you work on the movement, not just the stretching or the strength, the movement, skill, strength, and self-care, all three, that's going to help. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have a great day. And I love the questions. Keep them coming.